There are experts, consultants, founders, entrepreneurs who are trying to build a personal brand, and they hope to achieve it by pumping up huge volume of content. They want to be on each and every platform. They are very concerned about growth. They're very concerned about followers and hooks and YouTube thumbnails. And while all of those things are important, none of it really matters if you do not have a very compelling message at the core of your brand. But there are a few people like Corey who have really nailed down their foundational message, their core point of view, and are making a dent. So today is again case study time, and we'll take a look at how Corey Quinn has essentially built a compelling point of view. Corey is the author of Anyone Not Everyone. He is essentially catering to agency owners and helping them scale through vertical specialization. Essentially, he helps them pick a vertical and become a market leader at that particular vertical with his compelling point of view, which is deep specialization. So he's an entrepreneur with 25 years of experience. He helps agency owners grow their business by becoming vertical marketing specialists, like I said, and his point of view is of deep specialization. If you look at Corey's website, where he talks about how he stumbled upon this point of view, you realize that maybe it was not really a eureka moment. Okay, because his website says that at his last agency, my team and I revamped our marketing strategies focusing on vertical markets, customer relationships, and innovative campaigns. So it seems like this point of view was more of months, years of work, which finally cumulatively became this one phrase, which is deep specialization. And I've touched upon this before. I feel a lot of us wait for this one eureka moment where the angels come down and bless us with this very compelling point of view. But I do feel it's something that evolves. I do feel it's an onion that you keep on peeling the outer layers, and then at the innermost layer, you find a point of view that is as compelling as deep specialization. So, what exactly is deep specialization? I think the best way to understand it would be to look at Corey's deep specialization maturity model, which I think is fantastic. That he has divided this pyramid based on the stage of the agency, and he goes from generalists to mavens. So as you can see, he has written the symptoms and he has given each step a name. So generalists are essentially ignored. They are heavily dependent on referrals, all the way up to mavens who are trusted insiders who have overflowing opportunities. Okay, and essentially what Corey is saying that what he will help agency owners do is become a maven, because that's where most of the opportunities lie. That's essentially how you grow and scale an agency and become the authority for a specific vertical. That is what he means by deep specialization. It's not being a generalist, it's not being a vendor, it's not even being a specialist, but being a maven, which is what happens when you decide to embrace deep specialization. Now, this POV, as you can see, creates tension because a lot of the agency owners I know are super generalists. I mean, they would take each and every client and they struggle. Most of them struggle, like Corey points out. So if I am a generalist agency owner, I'm in pain. And if I am, like he said, depending too much on referrals, then this POV immediately creates tension because I feel, oh, maybe this is the thing that I am missing out on. Maybe this is the reason that everything is going wrong in my business. Maybe this is the trick that I am missing. And even if there was someone in the specialist stage who is not yet a maven, even that person, that agency owner would feel the tension because he would feel, oh, I'm almost there yet. I am a specialist, but I'm not yet a maven. A good point of view creates tension. Whether it's Jonathan Stark's hourly billing is nuts, whether it's Jia Kunzo's resonance over reach, or whether it's deep specialization, all of them create a certain emotion within the target audience. Another beautiful thing about this particular model is it's a self assessment model because it tells me exactly where I am. So I can just ask myself, where am I? Am I being ignored? Am I overly dependent on referrals? Then I'm definitely a generalist. Do I have weak playbooks? Am I still dependent on word of mouth? Then maybe I'm in the vendor stage. Am I a functional expert? Am I someone who has decided to niche down, but this seems somewhat like a shallow niching down? Then I'm a specialist. So the beauty of this particular model is that you can self-assess based on the symptoms that are mentioned there, which in a way builds credibility because Corey is able to frame the problem effectively. He's able to articulate those symptoms effectively. And one of the essential parts of good marketing is really framing and articulating the symptoms or the problems of your audience, because then they can relate to it and it doesn't seem like fluff. It's just something that is right out there. I can measure it by myself. I can self assess simply because it's true. And the moment I start seeing it as true, I get sold onto this particular model, this particular story, and I'm keen to explore, okay, how do I become a maven and what exactly is deep specialization? Now, as always, we go back to the solar system content model, because the sun, the core point of view, is at the center of the solar system. Then you have planets, which are the content pillars, and then you have moons, the content ideas. In Corey's particular case, the sun or the core point of view, the big idea is deep specialization. And if you look at his website, if you look at his book, if you look at his emails, a few content pillars emerge. One of them being that, okay, customers don't really, or clients don't really care about features, they care about the outcomes. You have to pick a vertical, right? That's what deep specialization is all about, saying no to the wrong clients. Then one of the themes that he also talks about is founder driven sales. We do not want to have an agency that is overly reliant on founder to make sales, building a point of view. So he urges agency owners to build their point of view. And of course, he urges agency owners to create deep expertise, because one of the aspects of deep specialization is having domain knowledge that is so deep, having being such an expert in that particular domain that you become the best, you become an authority, you become the go-to solution for that particular vertical. Now, as far as applying it to our 5-step point of view methodology is concerned, which by the way is a good methodology if you want to start building your point of view. I talk about this in a separate video and I'll link the video in the description. So if you are in the stage of crafting your point of view, I strongly urge you check that out, because you might just end up with a very compelling point of view at the end of that video. I have applied this methodology to Corey's case, but it has two versions to it, because I'm not entirely sure who is the audience. Is it, I mean, of course, it's agency owners, but is it someone who is like a generalist? Or is it someone who is a specialist and wants to become a maven? That is one thing that I'm not very clear about. Maybe it's for both. So that's why I've created two versions of this. The first version talks to the generalist agency owner, shared goal, which is what our audience essentially wants to achieve. We want to agree on this. So we can, if Corey were to give a talk at a conference of agency owners, he would say, we can all agree that agency owners want to grow their agency. No one would really disagree with it. And the status quo, like how are we currently achieving this goal? Well, we believe that the only way to grow is chase all kinds of clients. The only way to grow is for the founder to make sales. The only way to grow is to depend on referrals. But that is problematic. Why? Because we are overly dependent on referrals. Sales is highly dependent on founders, and the growth is unpredictable. You cannot become a market leader. You cannot become an agency which has tons of opportunities, and hence your growth is limited. The villain or the root belief here is that the only way to grow is by casting a wider net. I have to be everywhere. I have to have all kinds of clients, because if I keep all my options open, then of course I have more opportunities to grow. That is the villain. That is the root belief that Corey is attacking. And of course, his big idea is deep specialization. So in our stop and start formula, it could be something on the lines of stop being a generalist and embrace deep specialization. The second version of this point of view is for agencies which are specialists, so who are just below the mavens. And if that is the core audience that Corey is targeting, this will speak to them. That okay, agency owners want to grow their agency again. The goal is the same. We do it by picking a niche, right? So that's the status quo has changed a little bit. But the problem with the status quo is that vague niche down advice doesn't work. They struggle to stand out from other agencies who are in that same niche. They struggle to differentiate themselves from other agencies, which makes leads expensive and hard to convert. The villain or the root belief is that picking a niche is enough to differentiate and grow. No, niching down and deep specialization are two different things. So stop niching down, stop shallow niching, and embrace deep specialization. Lastly, what are the takeaways? Well, firstly, self-assessment models, like I said, is something that made me think quite deeply about how you and I can approach creating our point of view, our frameworks, our mental models. touch upon the audience's pain points. It creates tension. It makes me want to explore this a little bit more. The best point of view comes from lived experiences. Like I said, Corey was working in an agency. So it is not merely going to happen on a piece of paper. We have to create more content. We have to work with more clients, after which the point of view solidifies. Point of view drives the entire content strategy. And that's it. I hope you find this useful. Thanks.